There are three core reasons people get into magic as deep as they do: money, power, and love. Depending on your personality, you will be kind of going into magic for one of these reasons. If you are lonely, love is more likely than money, of course. If you are poor, money is probably going to be the primary reason. And if you are just kind of sick of the world stomping on you, then you're going to want power. And I kind of want to use these to explain why we do magic. I am Dave the Amateur Magus. On this channel I talk all about the mechanics behind ceremonial magic, occultism, esotericism, and the mechanics behind everything you can find within a dusty old grimoire. On today's episode, we will be talking about the three primary reasons people get into magic. If you enjoy what I do here and you want to support the channel, link in the description of the Patreon where you can get exclusive access to content early, Patreon exclusive videos, and the Occultic Manual series, which is a more instructional series that is a monthly write-up, where I go into the philosophy and usually the mechanics of a particular type of magic and explain it with instructions on how to actually get it to function for you. If that sounds interesting to you, link in the description of the Patreon, and if you're already supporting me on Patreon, you have my thanks for your continued and ongoing support. Money, power, and love are the core reasons why people do magic. Money is obvious, love is obvious, power is because people want to be in control of their lives. And in particular, in modernity, I find that these three things are seemingly downplayed in a lot of non-esoteric fields. When you are doing magic for money, you do magic for money and you kind of have to develop a better sense of money. When you do magic for love, you need to, actually become a loving person, which modern society is really antithetical to. Modern society kind of views people as objects. It is a very dehumanizing thing to live in modernity. And power, most people don't even have control over themselves. Most people don't have control over their work schedules. Most people don't have control over their basic necessities of life. So it's fairly obvious to tell why people would want that. There is, of course, a fourth and a fifth reason for getting into magic, and that is, when I mentioned this on the Discord, somebody was like, well, I got into it to learn the secrets of the universe. And that has its own problems, and that is a whole nother can of worms that we're not really going to deal with today. And then you have spirits forcing you into it, because some people, when they're born, they end up having a family bloodline tradition or something like that, and these spirits end up forcing them into it. We're not going to be talking about those two. When it comes to the other core three, the reason I talk about them in the exact pattern, other than the fact that it's a nice mnemonic to have, is the fact that it kind of is an accessibility levels. Money magic is easier than love magic, and love magic is a hell of a lot easier than getting your life together magic, which is what power magic is in this case. When it comes to money magic, you can just kind of burn a green candle, specify an amount, and say that it should come into your life in new and interesting ways while blessing all involved, and by all means, you will get that to happen. I don't think I trust any magician who doesn't have a good money spell saved up for rainy days, and money spells are one of the easiest and simplest magical spells to do, though you can overcomplicate them. I've overcomplicated them. The more complicated a spell, sometimes, the more moving parts a spell has, sometimes the better, sometimes the worse, but there is something about a simple sigil to get a bunch of money from some kind of source that you didn't plan for that is just very, very nice to be able to do. And they lay a groundwork for thaumaturgical operations, because thaumaturgical operations allow you to manifest basically whatever you want, which is where love magic comes in. Usually after money, people will try to manifest love. At least this was my experience and the experience of many others. Love magic is going to be, depending on what you do, actually hazardous to you, because you're going to be able to manifest a lot worse things than just money. If you put while blessing all involved on the end of a money spell, congratulations, you've basically just covered your ass to the point where you don't really need to worry about anything. But love spells, if you manifest the wrong partner, congratulations, you're now in an abusive relationship. This is something that is very common for people, though most people don't want to admit it. Love magic, in my experience, is right under curses in terms of how bad magic can be, despite the fact that I've done quite a few love spells, and those love spells have been incredibly negative sometimes. I think when working with Venus, I actually have a barely positive love to breakup ratio. And when I say love to breakup ratio, I mean it broke up relationships of people around me who were in toxic relationships. Love magic is a fickle thing. I've found that it is borderline useless to actually do targeted love magic, and depending on your situation, your spirits might not allow you to do targeted love magic, which is a whole nother topic. But you can do magic to manifest a particular kind of partner into your life, and that particular partner will end up being the kind of person who you should be in a relationship with, assuming you ended up casting for the right kind of person. Sometimes you're going to not know what you want in a relationship. Maybe you've never had a relationship. Maybe you've only had modern style relationships, and then somebody comes along who wants full commitment and wants that deep 7-layer passionate love that Venus wants to manifest for you, and you just don't get it. Because you were trained by modernity to reject positive and healthy relationships because there was one tiny thing that was perceived as a red flag, which wasn't even a big deal. It's something that normal human beings can just kind of talk through and not make a big issue out of. But because you're on the internet all the time and you are constantly bombarded by social media's opinions of what people should and should not do, you took that to be, oh, there is one tiny problem in this relationship that isn't really a big deal, but everyone on the internet is saying that it's a terrible idea, and all of my friends are saying it's a terrible idea because they're getting bombarded with the exact same opinions that I am. Money spells, by comparison, are simple. You can just do a road opener spell, and then you can just do a money spell and manifest whatever you're looking for. Love spells, you actually need to learn about how to actually interact with other people in a way that you can actually, maintain a relationship in, which is where I believe that meditating and scrying on the concepts of love and understand the concept of love in general, all 7 of them, because there's a lot, all of those are necessary for a good, healthy relationship. And that will lead you into learning more about yourself, which is the core fundamental practice behind the final aspect of why people get into magic: power. People want control. People want to be able to control their lives. You don't get into magic because you want other people in control. You literally go to demons, angels, gods, spirits, and the divine, and you yell at God in order to make your life better because you want your life to be under your control. Now, you are asking powers that are beyond you for this. They are above you, literally, in some metaphysical concepts, but that does not mean that you can't ask them for things. Now, some things you just need to deal with. You cannot control everything, but this is where magic comes in. For everything you can't control, you can usually cast for, unless the powers that be tell you can't do something. And there's a lot of things people can't do even with magic. There's required magic, which requires you actually do something or do a specific kind of magic in order for it to manifest. Which is something that not many people talk about. Sometimes you need to do a particular kind of magic in order for your other magic to even function. So if you wanted to do a money spell, but all of the spirits and all of your meditations say to do a love spell, and you put that off despite the fact that your spirits have given you a formula and a method for doing a love spell, and you just don't do it, and nothing manifests. Your money spells don't manifest, nothing happens. And then you do the love spell, and then all of a sudden within 2 days, not only is the manifestation better, you end up meeting somebody who ends up getting you a fancy cushy job that ends up being a job that you stay at for 6 to 7 years. This is the nature of required magic, and this is the nature of power, because even if you are in control of your life, you're still going to have duties and obligations. Hell, you could make the argument that being in control of your life is about managing duties and obligations. Now, I personally have a very different methodology for how I interpret and how I view the world. Being in control of your life is not about what you care about. Everyone has things that they should care about, and only an idiot would discard those, or only somebody who has been completely and totally disillusioned with life would say that you don't need to pay attention to them. However, being an adult and being in control of your life is about something much more simple to me. Being in control of your life is about what you don't have to care about. Think about it. When you're young, everyone tells you what you have to care about. You have to care about your homework. You have to care about your friends. You have to care about school. You have to care about this. You have to care about that. You don't really care about any of it. And then when you become an adult, you get to choose what you don't care about. Yes, you could neglect your health, but it will come back to bite you in the ass. Yes, you could skip out on your job without calling, but then you get fired. And then you end up receiving the consequences of your actions. And this is very similar with Magick. Yes, you could curse everyone who you don't like, but then that's going to come to bite you in the ass because somebody who's going to throw a counter curse at you, and it's going to be probably laced with a justice spell just for good measure. Unlike money spells and love spells, you can't just do a control over your life spell, though you can. This is usually where initiation comes in. You rebuild your life in a way that you can actually manage and control because you develop trying to manage and control different aspects of your life slowly over time. This is something that a lot of people seem to kind of forget. This is one of the aspects why the Liam Thomas Christopher book, the Kabbalah Magic and the Great Work of Self-Transformation, aka the Red Brick, if you are familiar with my channel, is so useful. It is because it slowly builds you up over time. That is one of the aspects that I personally love out of that book. That being said, you can't really go ahead and you can't really do a full control of your life spell, though you can try. Usually you want to break it down piecemeal and you want to build things up over time. This is why we develop our magical skills slowly, but this is also why we try to initiate and try to develop our things in a way that won't cause us to burn out. That being said, I am Dave the Amateur Magus. Hope you guys are having a good day. If you're not having a good day, hope your day gets better. Take it easy, take care, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.